Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
You are listening to the TrekRanks podcast, a member of the Tricorder Transmissions Podcast Network. This is episode 84, featuring the top 5 Odo episodes. Welcome, Star Trek fans. I am Jim Moorhouse, and I am the host of the TrekRanks podcast. And tonight we are celebrating character and performances of one of the great actors in Star Trek history. Tonight we're doing our top 5 Odo episodes, and we'll obviously be discussing, as we do this, the incredible contribution of Rene Auberjonois to Star Trek throughout the years. And we, of course, lost Rene in December of 2019 at the age of 79, and June 1st is his birthday from 1940. So we're releasing this one right around that date. And we figured, since this would be his first anniversary of his birth after his passing, we thought this would be a good time to dive into Odo and celebrate the memory of Rene Auberjonois and the character of Odo and everything that character gave us in Star Trek. So to do that, we've got a couple of awesome TrekRanks veterans and big DS9 fans joining us straight from the Omarion Nebula. First up, making her third appearance on TrekRanks is the host of the iconic Standard Orbit over on Trek FM. It's Hayley Stoddard. Hayley, welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having me. Seriously, this is the third time?
This is the third time. Yeah, you did. Okay. I got my notes. You did One-Off Heroes and our scary episodes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. See, this is what happens when you've been podcasting consistently now for 2 years.
Yeah.
You do another show on another network, you kind of tend to forget where all the things that you've done. I'm excited to be back, though. Thanks for having me.
Understood. And super excited to have you back on. And our other guest tonight is the pretty, talented, and smart half of the infamous Trek Geeks. We can say that because the other guy's not here. So he's one of the biggest DS9 and Odo fans I know. It's Dan Davidson, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, man, thanks for having me here. Now, so let me ask you a question. Is it pretty talented or pretty, talented?
It's both, Dan.
Oh, what a nice guy.
It's both.
I got to say, I am very happy to be here. Everybody knows who listens to the show how much I loved Odo, or love Odo, and loved Rene. So to be able to talk about my 5 favorite moments of his, it's quite an honor to be here. And to be here with the likes of Hayley and you, oh my God, I don't even know what to do with myself right now.
Yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer to make sure I could get you on this episode when this one came up. And you've been on 3 times too. You were on Epic Arcs and Space Battles, so those were fun ones. Jeez.
They were very, very fun. Epic Arcs, that was great.
Yeah, that
Space Battles. Anything that involves me punching Bill in the face is an epic space battle.
This is true.
Oh, it is true. Trek Geeks Light going on here right now. Okay, let's get into our TrekRanks recalibration.
What are you recalibrating?
Everything. It's a sweeping, a recalibration of all systems.
First up, as regular listeners will know by now, general order number 1 here at the TrekRanks podcast is that we love Trek. We love to rank Trek via some deep dive topics just to get the conversation started. And remember, it's not about the ranks. It's just an excuse to talk about Star Trek. And as our good friend, the Vulcan Master, likes to remind us each week, the main driver for all of our discussions here at TrekRanks is
Infinite diversity.
Infinite combinations.
No wrong answers. It's not about being right or definitive in any way. It's just about sharing the things that we love about Star Trek, and we love it all, from TOS to TNG, straight through to Enterprise, and the Kelvin timeline, and now Discovery, and Short Treks, and Star Trek Picard as well. It's all fair game here on the TrekRanks podcast.
Black alert. Black alert.
Of course, tonight we don't really have to worry about spoilers because it's just going to be DS9 focused. Yeah, it's going to be all Odo all the time.
Interface, operations, net access, channel 90.
And you can find TrekRanks on the net access interface links at TrekRanks.com. You can contact me directly on Twitter at TrekRanks or at Enterprise Extra. You can also call and leave us a message with your own picks at 609-512-LLAP. That's 609-512-5527. Okay, Hayley and Dan, why don't you guys let everybody know how they can get a hold of you guys on the net access interface? Hayley.
Well, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Trekkie01D, and that's about it. I don't do Instagram. I don't do Twitch. I don't do TikTok. I don't do no. Just Twitter is the best way to find me.
Exactly. And Dan, how about you, man?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter also. I am at Trek Geek Dan. I'm dabbling in Instagram, but I really haven't the slightest freaking idea how all the stories and all that stuff works. So Twitter's good, and the official Trek Geeks Facebook page is Camp Kittimer. I'm there all the time as well.
I can't figure out Instagram. Okay, let's get into our level 1 diagnostic to get into today's topic.
Diagnostic Cycle will be complete in 20 seconds.
So really quick for these character episodes that we've done in the past, and by the way, this is our 9th overall character episode we've done on TrekRanks, and the 4th from Deep Space Nine, which is crazy that somehow Deep Space Nine just keeps happening on the character episodes. Yes. So for these shows, we like to ask our guests to give us one word to describe the character, just to give us a little preview on how they're going to approach this topic. So let's do that now with Hayley. What is the one word you would use to describe Odo?
Solitary.
Ooh, oh, that's poignant and sad. I love it. So why'd you pick that?
So as I was going through, I chose this word after I had already kind of picked my episodes/moments that I was going for. And I didn't realize until afterwards that I'd picked all the episodes that kind of have a similar theme to his character. And so that's why I went with solitary. And you'll understand better once I get into my episode picks.
Oh, I love it. So it connects with your picks. Dan, how about you, man? What one word did you pick?
It's kind of funny. I actually was originally going to go with lonely, which would have been very similar to Hayley's, but I actually chose reclusive.
Ooh.
Because of the way he is. It's funny. I remember saying on a show once, I don't remember where it was, that I would have loved to have lived on Deep Space Nine when Odo was there to try and become friends with him. Because he is so reclusive, he doesn't want to let anybody in. And I would have found it a challenge to become friends with him and hang out with him. We get to see aspects of Odo that people on the station didn't get to see, and it made me appreciate him all that much more. But he is reclusive. He doesn't want anybody to know what he's really feeling until he gets in that relationship with Kira. So it takes a long time for that to happen.
I like that. So you guys very similar in terms of your direction. And for me, I went a little bit of a different description of Odo, another part of his characteristic. And for me, my one word is, hold on, let me sure I get this out in one try. Incontrovertible. Don't ask me how to spell it, but it means not open to question or dispute. And that's how I always, and that's not literally accurate because he's made some mistakes in his 7-year run on Deep Space Nine, a few doozies. But it's how I always think of him, because I just think he's so upstanding and correct and fair and right in his pursuit of justice. And, he's not someone you're usually going to be able to argue with much, because he's only ever going to be concerned about the facts. So I just like that idea that it's not open to question or dispute. He's just going to deal with the facts and how he approaches stuff. So incontrovertible. Is my Odo word. So we have solitary, reclusive, and incontrovertible, which I'm not going to say again. It's the last time. Okay, let's jump into our Prime Directives and figure out how everyone broke down their list.
I do not concur with your captain's decision.
She's following our Prime Directive.
Define Prime Directive.
Okay, so Hayley, let's start with you. How did you define your Prime Directive related to your word and make all your final picks?
So I went with episodes that I felt really challenged the character of Odo in some fashion, whether that's allowing him to grow, to let others in and kind of know him better, and kind of realizing that it's okay to open up to people despite not wanting to.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. And so that's a theme all through all your picks. That's fantastic. Okay, how about you, Dan? How did you look at it?
I did mine a a lot simpler than what Hayley did. Basically, with so many Odo moments throughout the run of Deep Space Nine, there are certain ones that are just my favorite, the ones that I can watch over and over again. The one where you hear his grunting and all the quark and all that stuff. Quark just makes me smile. With a character who's so lonely all the time, moments that make you smile about him or make you even laugh about him are the things that make me appreciate the character a lot. So most of mine have that in mind. One of them really doesn't, based on the actual episode, but that's what I kind of went with for the most part.
A tried and true process here on TrekRanks. Just kind of going with your favorites. You literally the ones that you think about and want to rewatch all the time. So for these topics in the past, and I should say this, I've gone back and forth between picking kind of episodes that represent characters, where maybe they were like super heavily involved in that episode, and also picking small moments in maybe episodes that weren't really about that character. So this topic's wide open. It can be whatever you want it to be, either episodes or just one tiny specific moment, even in an episode that's not about that character. And I've gone back and forth on that process in our previous episodes. And for Odo, I've landed a little bit in the middle of those two things. I picked some big Odo episodes and then also some smaller moments that really sum up kind of how he impacted the series and why, for me, I loved him so much as a character and in the performance of Rene Auberjonois as well. So probably a little bit closer to you, Dan, in terms of just trying to highlight some of the moments that I remember and have always loved about the character. Okay, let's do this. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get to the picks. Let's go to the order of things.
I was in charge of keeping order on the promenade.
Okay, well, that was new. That was Odo, as appropriate, as it should be. Okay, quick reminder on how we're going to go through the order of things. First, each of us will reveal our 5-word summary and a hashtag to tease our pick. Then we'll name our top 5 Odo episode and the specific reasons we're highlighting it. And at the end, we'll ask everyone for a few secondary system selections that maybe just missed their list. And as always, if we have any duplicates, make sure you listen for the Defiant Torpedoes. Okay, Hayley, let's kick this off with you. What's your number 5 pick for your top 5 Odo episode?
All right. So my 5-word summary is, congratulations, you're a new dad. Hashtag bring on the memories. This is season 5 of episode 12, The Begotten.
Yes. I'm so weepy.
I picked this episode because this really challenged Odo. He had to confront his past and confronted Dr. Mora about what went on and what Dr. Mora did to him, and that he wasn't going to do that to this new changeling, this young changeling that he found. And so it really was really incredibly powerful to the character to kind of go through that and be like, I'm not going to do what you did to me. And at the end of the episode, it's wonderful because then they have this friendship and they really try to work with each other. And it's really quite intriguing. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, this is classic Odo, and I love that Tarkalian hawk at the end. Oh, my God.
Do you know what you are? You're a changeling, a shapeshifter. You can be anything. A Tarkalian hawk soaring through the sky, or a Philian python burrowing deep beneath the ground. It's all yours for the taking, huh? I was never a very good shapeshifter. If you could see the face I'm stuck with, you'd know what I mean. But I think I can be a good teacher. You'll be better than I ever was. And I promise I'll never treat you the way I was treated. Never.
Okay, Dan, what's your take on The Begotten? I mean, this one is an all-time classic.
Oh, it definitely is a classic. There's so much in this episode, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet. James Sloyan, hello.
Oh,
how can you not love any episode that James Sloyan is in? And I got to say, with all the characters that he does, I know we're talking about Odo episodes, but with all the characters that James has done in all of Star Trek, this might be the best one because he has such a roller coaster of emotion with how he was with Odo when he was in the lab, but you see that he really cared for him. So I just thought it was great. And that, like you said, that Tarkalian hawk is fantastic to see going through the station. The camera work on that is great. It's a fantastic episode. Great pick, Hayley.
Thank you.
Since you brought up James Sloyan, let's James Sloyan love in here. I love the fact that, first of all, he's like the best all-time guest actor outside of like maybe the Jeffrey Combs, but he is right up there. I love the fact that Odo's look is after Dr. Mora, played by James Sloyan. And then I love the fact that all the founders kind of took, in my head canon, all the founders take Odo's look to kind of mock him a little bit, for lack of a better term, not to mock, but just to kind of stick it in his face. And I love that because James Sloyan is awesome. So, and this is a great episode. Okay, Dan, sorry for that little segue.
Oh, that's okay, man.
What is your number 5 pick? Top 5 Odo episode.
I talked a little while ago about how I picked like the moments that made me smile or laugh. And this is not one of those moments. This is the one episode that really doesn't do it. And it's season 5, episode 8's Things Past.
Ooh.
And this is a deep episode. We find out why justice is so important to Odo. And as a result of what happened in his past, he vows that justice is always more important than the rule of law. And we finally see an Odo that makes mistakes. The writer said, I believe, at one point that we have this basic cop who never got his hands dirty, but now we see just how dirty his hands got when he was running the show back during the occupation. He's got this past that haunts him, and he realizes where they are during this whole, unconscious link. You can see that fear come to the surface when he realizes what's going on. And the episode to me is done in a way that works far more than an obligatory flashback episode does. So I just really love it. And of course I forgot to give my 5 words and a hashtag at the beginning. So I should probably do that now. 5 words: blood on the constable's hands. And a hashtag, why justice drives Odo will shock you, because he was not a good man in that episode. So it's just another layer of the onion, so to speak, with Odo that I just love so much.
I was really curious if anyone was going to pick this. I thought about it, but I decided not to go there because of everything you just said.
I will say one thing also is I had this as my 5th pick, and I went back and forth with this and another episode from my honorable mention that we'll get into later. And I had to put this one in my list because of that darkness that we don't usually see with the character of Odo.
Yeah, I'm glad you did it. And I kind of mentioned it in my incontrovertible pick for the word, because he's not perfect.
Yeah.
And this is exhibit A for him, and the things that this one definitely haunts him, to say the least. Hayley, what's your take on Things Past?
No, it's a super great pick for an episode for Odo. I think really shows the growth that he's had and how much he's changed from that person that he was before.
Yeah, for sure. And the ending of this one is so dark when you kind of realize what he's going through. Okay, let's close out round 5 with my pick. And I did not expect this one to make my list, but it ended up being there. 5 words and a hashtag. The new belt doesn't help. Hashtag speaking to you as a friend. And it's from season 4, Deep Space Nine. It's Crossfire. And it's this episode where Odo, everyone realizes Odo loves Kira, but he just can't bring himself to tell her. And I know it's not like a really popular episode, and it's really kind of a quiet, almost filler episode, but I think it's really critical and important for Odo and Quark. And that's one of the main reasons I pick it, because I love the Odo and Quark moments in this episode. And we truly find out exactly how much Odo loves Kira as he has to stand by and he watches Shakar start this relationship with her. And there's this moment I chose that there's this back and forth battle with Quark, that it starts with Quark kind of realizing and seeing that Odo obviously has feelings for Kira and is getting worried about her relationship with Shakar, and he brings it up and Odo just blows him off. But in the end, they have this fight in his quarters where Odo's kind of destroyed his quarters.
Yeah.
And Quark's in there telling them about, listen, you need to just make a choice. Either go for it or forget about it. And they have a really, really good, close conversation. And it's one of these, there's like 2 or 3 of these moments in the series where Quark's leaving and Odo's like, for a minute there, I thought you were. Quark sets it up as, I need you to get back on the job because it's helping my gambling ring. So because I put bets on you getting the job done. And Odo's like, I thought you were speaking to me as a friend. And Quark's like, nah. And there's like three or four moments where they have that kind of personal exchange where you know that they do truly actually like each other. So I wanted a moment like that in here. And that's my pick, Crossfire. Not the most popular episode, but I actually really like it.
Your prophets.
Unless you do something about the situation, I'm going to have to stop running the pool.
I'm devastated.
You should be. The fact that the pool exists says something about you, about who you are. People see you as the guy who always gets his man. Now, you're becoming the guy who tears up his quarters and sits alone in the rubble. And no one's going to want to place bets on how long someone's going to sit around in the dark. Well, said my piece, sorry for butting in. But I'm just looking out for my business.
Funny. For a minute there, I thought you were talking to me as a friend.
Yeah.
Hayley, what's your take on Crossfire?
So I'm not a big Odo Kira shipper. But I think it's a great pick just because I do really enjoy Quark and Odo. I think they have the best frenemy relationship in all of Trek.
There's like a little bit in Heart of Stone, but then this is the one where you really see that it's killing it that he can't be with Kira. Dan, what's your take on it?
Yeah, that scene is the one that stands out to me the most when he's in his quarters and he smashed everything up and his hair is out of place and it's not something that we're used to seeing. And you're right, it's very few and far between moments between Quark and Odo. Like the very last episode where Odo's leaving and Quark says, "That man loves me." It's written all over his back. I mean, just the quick one-liners that Quark has really does show that as much as these guys claim to be enemies, they really aren't. And that's going to come into play for me later on. But it's a great pick. And you're right. It's one that not many people, I think, would choose. But it has a lot of implications for the character of Odo and how he feels and why he's so alone.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. And this will play into one of my future picks as well. Okay, let's go to round 4.
You humanoids are all alike. You have no sense of order.
Hayley, what's your number 4 pick?
All right. So my 5-word summary is plasma anomaly, space-time travel, #funky head examiners, and it's season 5, episode 8, Things Past.
I had a feeling that's what it was. That's awesome.
So, I'll mention this just because I really found this episode really powerful, again, in this whole confronting things and letting people in for Odo. He really struggles with that, which is something I relate to pretty well. And he's got to face his past and these mistakes that he's made. This damages his relationship with Kira to a degree at the end of the episode. But, he really knows what's going on and he knows where he's at pretty quickly on. And you can see the fear of letting his friends know who he really was at that point in time. And the end of the episode, apologizing and admitting to everybody what he did and coming to that realization and facing it and owning it is just really powerful and is a really great growth for him.
I'm so impressed that you both had the guts to pick this episode and I didn't. I mean, it's awesome. Dan, any final take on Things Past?
It's funny, Hayley, you said something that made me think everybody makes mistakes. Odo is not is certainly one of those people. This is a perfect example of what can happen when you make a mistake and you still keep it secret for as long as you do. The longer it's kept secret, the worse things are going to happen. And I know that firsthand. So this episode has a very special meaning to me in that aspect. But it's just, I mean, you just feel as bad as what he did, you can't help but feel for the guy at the end in that final scene. It's just gut wrenching and heartbreaking.
Yep, exactly.
Good summary, you guys. That's awesome. Dan, how about you? What's your round 4 pick?
Round 4, 5 words are now that is a broken leg. And hashtag sometimes enemies, always friends, which goes back to what we were talking about just a few minutes ago with these two.
Yep.
This is season 5, episode 9, The Ascent. This to me is hands down the best Quark Odo episode in all of Deep Space Nine. We see that while neither can really stand each other, they really can't live without each other either. Odo's vulnerable in this episode. He's still solid. He knows he's vulnerable. He tells Quark to leave him behind and let him die so that Quark has a chance to live. That's not what enemies do. And that really shows the complex relationship that these two guys have. And at the end, when they're in the bio beds and I still hate you, it's just, they're right back at it. It doesn't take long for them to get back to the way that they have been for years and will continue to be for the next few seasons.
Yeah, the end where they tell each other that they hate each other is another one of those scenes where they really love each other.
Exactly.
It's fantastic, just like in Crossfire. The Ascent, this is obviously the best Quark Odo episode. Just so many great moments. It's such a fun episode. It's so well regarded. Hayley, what's your take on The Ascent?
I think this is hands down one of my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine altogether. I really enjoyed this adventure, so to speak, that these two characters who really have just been at odds with each other pretty much most of the time are stuck with each other. And I think it's just a fantastic pick.
One of the things, if I can jump in one more time, that I love so much about this episode, and Jim, you alluded to it a little bit a second ago, is
it the lip smacking?
It's the humor with the lip smacking and the buzzing. That is so great in that runabout. And then it turns into this life or death struggle. But when I think of this episode, I can't help but think of the buzz.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
I said be quiet!
Oh my God. So I was going to bring it up. I'm glad you did. That is so funny. Another thing I like about this is how excited Odo is about throwing Quark in jail too. So they're, they have this mutual respect, but he's also like, you're up the river, man. You are going away for a long time. All right. Let's close out round 4 with my pick. 5 words and a hashtag. You're too late. We're everywhere. Hashtag no time for Choose the Changeling. And of course, it's Deep Space Nine Season 3, The Adversary, the season finale when Odo kills a changeling to save his friends. And, this is one of my favorite Odo moments when he kills this changeling, because I just love the fact that he's doing it to protect his friends. And I hate the sanctimonious crap that we get from all the founders acting like Odo did something wrong in being the first founder to harm another, when this guy was literally trying to blow up their ship
and start a war.
Start a war that's going to kill, untold millions. So this moment, I love that he did this. He made a conscious decision to kill that SOB and save his friends. I love that moment. And of course, he ends up paying the price in Broken Link. And even in that moment, he really stands up to the founder by saying, sorry, he was trying to kill my friends. So that's why I killed him. So yeah, this is a standout for me. It's one of my favorite Odo episodes and moments. And Hayley, what's your take on The Adversary?
No, I think that's a great pick, just because it goes to show that, he's wanted his home and he searched for his home and his kind for all of this time and wanted to know where he came from. And once he finds it, he realizes that he was home all along and he just didn't want to admit it to himself. And so it's really very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. Dan, how about you?
This came very close to being on my list. This is not one of my favorite Odo episodes. This is one of my favorite Deep Space Nine episodes, because we really start seeing the danger that the founders are going to be for the Federation. And I love that scene in the engine room where both changelings look like Odo and they're trying to have O'Brien decide who's who. And the fact that he kills a changeling is an epic Odo moment, because it has repercussions that nobody expected. It's a great pick, man. I'm kind of wishing I put it on my list, so I'm glad that you did.
It's definitely a standout moment, and it's kind of maybe counterintuitive to say, hey, my favorite moment's when he killed this guy. But, you know, at the same time, I think it was the right call.
And I got to say, as dark as it is, the way that changeling died and how he's kind of still in form and then disintegrates piece by piece, the ash falls, that's a great special effect that they did on that episode.
Yeah, that was really good. Okay, let's go to the soup round.
There are other ways to create order in your life. Your quarters, for example. Everything in mine has its specific place, and it's all arranged just so.
Round 3, Hayley, what's your number 3 top 5 Odo episode?
All right, number 3, 5 words. Let's go on adventure. # we are stuck together. That's right. It's season 5, episode 9, The Ascent. So, Dan, you're in my head. Again, I think this just shows the growth that Odo has. You know, he's also pushing Quark. You know, he's broken his leg. He's like, I'm going to push this thing, even though I can't get up and walk. And it pushes Quark to do it. But I really enjoyed this growth that he has, and, you know, arguing with Quark. It's really fun. But again, it's just one of my favorite episodes, so I had to include it. So, I
mean, it really is fun, and it's such a classic, like, I don't want to say trope, like a negative thing, but it's like just a classic action adventure story. Like, hey, 2 people are in a shuttle, they're stranded, they have to figure out a way to survive, and they use it so well. I mean, you could just see the writers' room be like, how about Quark and Odo stuck on a planet trying to survive? A great idea. Let's write that. That'll be fun.
It's a road trip episode, except for they're not on a road trip. They're on a hike from hell.
Right.
Well, they were on a road trip, and then they crashed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Dan, any final take on the Ascent?
Yeah, you know, when Odo became a solid, I gotta say I was like completely crushed. And then when the season started, I'm like, all right, how many episodes are they going to be able to do that are going to be enjoyable to watch with Odo being a solid and bitching about it the whole time? And this works on every single level possible in terms of what he's dealing with and the different curveballs that come at him. And this is a curveball like no other when that rock snaps his leg. So yeah, it's a brilliantly written episode, and the cinematography in it's pretty good too.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it was also like, this was the window for them to do this kind of story, because they knew, like, well, we can't, if he's a changeling, he just turns into a bird, right? And, you know, fly, whatever. So this was the window to do it, and it's a winner. Super popular. Okay, Dan, what's your number 3 pick?
Get your phasers ready. 5 words. Odo's a daddy, sort of. # ingest a changeling and get your abilities back. It is season 5, episode 12, The Begotten.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And we've talked about a lot of what I had written down for this episode. We get to see a little bit more of Odo's past in The Begotten and how different his past looks depending on who's talking about it. The friction between Odo and Mora is palpable. But from Mora's perspective, he cared for Odo even when he tries to justify all the things that he did to him in the lab. And then the forgiveness by Odo at the end is one of his most emotional moments, as is realizing what the young changeling's gift to him in death was. So we have that scene where he turns into the Tarkalian hawk and he flies around the promenade and then lands. And the look on his face is that of joy for a changeling becoming a changeling again, and also in the sorrow of losing what he considered to be a child. So it's just a great Rene episode, portraying a character so well.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm glad you brought up that forgiveness part with Dr. Mora too, because that was really, in some ways he was pretty mean to Dr. Mora.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes in some ways that was legitimate, because of how he felt, but it was also like, cut the guy some slack. he was trying to help you. So it was a really, really great when they had that final kind of realization. And the Tarkalian hawk, say it again, because if people remember at the beginning of this episode when he's talking to the young changeling, he says, I'll show you, I can show you how to turn into a Tarkalian hawk. Yep. And then he does it at the end when he's got him inside him. Really, really emotional. Hayley, any final thoughts on The Begotten?
As Dan was talking about it, I kind of look at it as, I have a teenager now, and, we as parents are trying to help our kids be the best they can be. And sometimes they don't like it and they end up hating us. I went through that with my own parents and did not have a good relationship with them till I was in my late 20s. And so I can kind of see that relationship a little bit between Dr. Mora and Odo, and in myself in my own life personally. And so it's really interesting to take a look at it from that perspective. But also, Dan, I hope you do not have my last two.
This absolutely is a TrekRanks first, that there's three duplicates and you guys all have the same. That's never happened before, even on our most tight topics. So this is amazing. We'll see what happens. Okay, my round 3 pick. This is a little bit of a deep cut, but it's connected to my round 4 pick. 5 words and a hashtag. Founder's message relayed through Weyoun. Hashtag, we want you to come home. And this is just a little short scene in the Deep Space Nine Season 4 episode To the Death. And it's Odo and Weyoun's first real conversation together that sets up his return to the Great Link at the end of the series. And I love this moment. So this is the episode where the Defiant crew is kind of teamed with a Jem'Hadar crew to try to take down some other Jem'Hadars to blow up some Iconian gateway. And there's this real quick scene in the corridor where, and this is the first appearance for Weyoun, where he stops him and says, "Hey, can I have a quick moment with you?" And Odo wants nothing to do with him. And basically he's saying, listen, despite everything that's happened, killing the changeling, we want you to, they want you to come home. They love you. And Odo says, I don't love them. And Weyoun says, you are lying. And I know that you want to go home more than anything. And you can see in Renee's face, I love this moment because it's way more impactful once you know the whole story, that he knows he is lying, and he knows Weyoun's right, that he does want to go home and he does want to be with his people, which is where he ends up. And the back and forth of this conversation, again, the first ever with Odo and Weyoun, just really, really, really good. It's just a small moment, but I love the way it impacts the whole series and kind of previews what's coming, 3 years later with the finale. So, To the Death, Odo and Weyoun.
Your people want you to come home, Odo. No matter what differences you may have with them, no matter what mistakes you may have made, they still love you.
Or maybe they do. But I don't love them.
You're lying, and you're not very good at it. I, on the other hand, am an expert at lies, both in telling them and in spotting them, so you may as well admit the truth. More than anything in your life, you want to return to your people. And I can make that possible.
How?
Let me worry about the how. All I need to know is, are you ready to go home?
No. But I am ready to end this conversation.
Then it's over. After all, you are a founder. I live to serve you.
Hayley, what's your take on that one?
No, that's a wonderful pick, even though it's just a small little moment. Because, Odo does. He wants to go home. He wants to be with people who are like him, who understand what he feels and thinks and how he views the world, and who doesn't want to have that. Yeah. It's a great pick.
Dan, how about you?
Can I just tell you how pissed I was when they killed Weyoun at the end of that episode?
I know. So smart the way they brought him back. So.
Brilliant, because you said it earlier, and I 100% agree. He is the best Star Trek guest, I think, ever. He is just phenomenal. Yeah. I really have not thought of this as an Odo moment episode, but now that you've described it, it definitely is. I've always looked at this as more of a Jem'Hadar and and what their life is like with the Vorta type episode. But that one small moment really speaks volumes for the character of Odo and how he feels. And it's amazing that Weyoun is able to read a god as well as he does in that one scene.
Yeah, and let's not kid ourselves. This episode is swashbuckling adventure episode, just to the hilt.
Yep.
Absolutely. But I remembered the scene when I was doing my research, and I was like, I'm going to check that out because he always did want to go home, which is obvious. And I think a big reason for his kind of slip in the season 6, which we haven't talked about yet. It may still come up in the first 2 rounds. Okay, and by the way, we are going to do someday our top 5 guest actors on Star Trek. So
okay.
Sloyan and Combs are going to be high up.
A lot of pew-pews on that one.
Sure. All right, let's go to round 2. Hayley, what's your number 2 pick?
Right now, I'd be satisfied just getting this room in order.
Dax, Kira, and Odo.
All right. 5 words is 2 men, 1 small room. Hashtag the sarcasm is strong. This is season 3, episode 21. The die is cast.
Ooh, I love this.
So obviously this is the episode where Odo has basically been captured by Tane and Garrick when he's on board going off to fight and destroy the founders, so to speak, with the Romulans and Cardassians. Doesn't go as well as they would hope. But I love this back and forth with Garrick and Odo, and they're matching wits and kind of sizing each other up in a different light outside of Deep Space Nine. And it's very powerful for both of these characters, but, it's interesting to see Garrick interrogating Odo, and he's being on the other end of this. But they're still somehow friends at the end of this, and it's really interesting, but I really liked this aspect of Odo kind of discovering how far people are going to push him because of who he is and who he comes from, and the fact that everybody's at war with the founders. I found that so incredibly powerful that he would still want to go back and be with these people despite having to essentially kind of look over his shoulder the rest of the time and just be questioned and have people not believe him and not put any truth to what he's saying simply because of who he is.
Well, this is an amazing moment, and again, one of the best episodes of Deep Space Nine, bar none. And the Garrick and Odo stuff in these 2 episodes is as good as anything in the series. Dan, what's your take on the die is cast?
We get so much cool stuff in this episode. We get Tane and Garrick and the whole attempt to destroy the founders, and that's after you blew up your own shop in the previous episode in Probable Cause. And I mean, there's just so many good things. And that scene when Garrick is questioning Odo, and you said it perfectly, Hayley, at the end, they're still friends. And I think during that scene, they're still friends because Garrick is trying anything to make Odo say something so that he doesn't have to keep doing what he's hating to do.
Odo, talk to me! Tell me something!
Anything. Lie if you have to, but say it now, please.
Home! I want to go home!
And you will, I promise. As soon as this is all over, I promise I'll take you back to Deep Space Nine.
No, not the station. Home with my people.
The Founders. You want to return to the Founders? I thought you turned your back on them.
I did, but they're still my people. I tried to deny it. I tried to forget, but I can't. They're my people, and I want to be with them in the Great Link.
I knew there was something secret you were holding back.
And now you found it. I hope it's useful.
You said it, Jim. This is one of the best episodes of Deep Space Nine. And what I love so much about Deep Space Nine, you could talk about it for hours, is how things that have taken place in the past all come around again. This is perfect serialized television. And to be one of the first shows to actually do that, it just this is one of the episodes that truly stands out, where things that happen in the past come around, and it's just brilliantly done.
And it obviously speaks to what my last 2 picks of him wanting to go home as well. That revelation that when he tells Garrus, like, just give me one little thing. Oh God, so good, awesome pick. This was definitely on my secondary systems. Actually, every episode we've said so far has been on my secondary system. So, all right, Dan, how about you? What's your round two?
Well, my 5-word description is "Love me some flaking Odo." And the hashtag is a startling admission. And Hayley, I got to say, you were right on target with your number 2 pick, because I too chose
oh my God.
season 3, episode 21, The Die is Cast. And I didn't actually pick the episode. I more picked the Odo moment in this episode, which we've already talked about. And that's the torture scene with Garrick. Admitting to Garrick that Odo wants to go home to the Great Link to be with his people is quite an admission for Odo. Even though he's being tortured, it's not something that you would expect him to drop his shields and admit to anyone, especially Garrick. And it's a vulnerability that we're just not used to seeing with the constable. And on the flip side, it really shows how good Garrick is at his job to get someone who would never admit something like that to admit it. And I got the makeup, the flakiness, and the stuff dropping off him. And it looks like his ankle's broken and his hair is all weird and he's got scars. It's really kind of scary to say, but when Odo's like really suffering like that, it's some of Rene's best work. Later in season 7, when he's got the disease from section 31, is another good example of that. He takes that character and it comes out so much more when he's in pain like that. And I think he just did a brilliant job in this one, especially.
Amazing. I can't believe you guys have four for 4 duplicates. I mean, that's not even close as that ever happened before. Incredible.
Leave me my number 1 for myself.
I have you know what? I have a feeling that we're going to pick the same thing. I really do.
Oh my goodness. We might all have the same number 1. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. I mean, what else can you say? This will be on my Garrick episodes as well, because I love Garrick in this episode.
Yeah. Well, and it's incredible because, Tane basically says, well, I'm going to interrogate him. And Garrick insists that he will do it, and he later apologizes. And, Odo thanks him for admitting the fact that he wanted to go home. And then he said that. And because Odo, again, he still doesn't want people to know that. And he still wants to have those secrets to himself. Is really, really powerful. But also, I love that Odo is somewhat more snarky in this episode than he is anyway, as it is in general. So that's also something that's really enjoyable.
When you say that, Hayley, it makes me think instantly. The camera work just in the scene is great, but when he's, Odo's standing there kind of cocky that, Garrick, you're not going to be able to do anything. And Garrick says, well, I just flipped the switch and you can't shapeshift anymore. And the camera's looking up at Odo and he's like, trying to change his hand. That's just brilliant.
That great reveal that there's a founder on the ship. Lovok, played by Leland Orser, great actor, another great guest star actor.
Yes,
would probably be on my list. Okay, that is incredible, you guys. Wow, wait to get to number 1. Let's go to my round 2 pick. 5 words and a hashtag. I got another little bit of a deep cut here. Did it for you, Nerys. Hashtag 200-year-old confident future Odo changes everything. And this is Deep Space Nine Season 5, Children of Time. And this is when Odo sabotages the Defiant to save Kira. And this one jumped out to me right away. I knew I was going to pick it because it's a hugely popular episode of Deep Space Nine, a great time travel, just a super cool premise. And there's a lot of great things about it, but I think my favorite thing here is how it sets up the Odo-Kira relationship with, I don't know, it's just a smart way to do it. They get over the hump of Odo's kind of reservedness and his his fear of trying to go to that next level with Kira. And the big reveal that it's not just that Odo's got this confidence and he's telling Kira all about how he feels, now he knows that the younger Odo can get there if she helps him, but that he sets it up so all these people die. And then he also joins with himself to tell himself, hey, dude, you're going to have another chance. Go get this. So, and that just really stood out to me. I always remembered that. And I think it's a huge, huge Odo moment. So Children of Time, Hayley, what's your take on that one?
fantastic pick. It's not one of my episodes that I like. If you listen to an episode of Trek Geeks where we did see it or skip it,
you skip this one?
Yes, you did.
Oh my god!
Believe me, I got a lot of crap.
Well, I'm still trying to get over. Hey, Dan, you skipped did you skip Defiant?
No, absolutely not.
No, you skipped another. I'm going to think of it before the episode's over. I remember just I didn't tweet you because I had too much respect for it. I was like, how the? Oh no, I know what it was. It was Voyager, and you skipped Deadlock.
Oh yeah, yep, I did.
Oh my goodness, I still can't get over that. We're going to have a whole new TrekRanks just on that at some point in the future. Wait, so you skipped Children of Time? Wow, this is
did.
This is one of my favorite Deep Space Nine episodes. Like definitely top 50.
I get people like it, and overall, for the most part, it's not a bad episode. But again, I'm just not a Kira Odo fan.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
So yeah, but to what you're saying, where he did all of this, and it kind of kicks off that relationship for them. It's really, I can see why a lot of people would really enjoy it, and it would be a fantastic moment for the character himself.
To be fair, when I'm not a huge Odo Kira shipper either, to be fair. I mean, I think it worked, but I was uncomfortable with this episode when it first aired. I was like, dude, what? Who? I mean, the confident Odo was kind of hard to get used to. And when he did that, I mean, I remember thinking, wow, the other Odo, that's now part of him. He has to live with that and know that. And everyone knows that, he made that choice. So, yeah, I just it was a big narrative decision, I think, for them to make. Dan, what's your take on Children of Time?
I agree with it's I love the episode. It's a great pick, Jim. But I also agree with what Hayley's saying. I have never been a fan, and you've said this too, of Kira and Odo's relationship. That has changed. And the reason it's changed, I appreciate it a lot more. I don't love it, but the reason I appreciate it now is because Rene passed away. It made me go back and look at his character through different eyes and seeing the relationship that he wanted for so long, the character. That once Rene passed, I had to look at being able to love someone and not knowing how much time you have. Kind of took on a new light for me. So I really appreciate it a lot more. That being said, it's unbelievable. We talked about making mistakes and keeping secrets. It's unbelievable how selfish future Odo was, that he wiped out the existence of an entire planet or colony just so that he could have a chance of his younger self getting together.
I know. It's crazy.
But it's that type of time writing that just blows your mind on how many questions it brings up and how like mind blown you can be when that ship goes off course and then you find out later that it was future Odo that did it. You're just like, what?
Yeah. It is amazing. It is kind of mind blowing. That's part of his character.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm dying. Let's get to round one, and don't give it away, Dan. But let's see if we have the first ever Trek ranks. I don't know what we're going to call it. Fiver, the Pentad, or whatever they call it. Okay.
Well, someone has to maintain order on the promenade.
You arrested a Vedic.
Haley, what is your number one Odo episode?
All right, 5 words is: we're stuck in a turbo lift. Hashtag help me get rid of her. This is season 1, episode 17, The Forsaken.
Yeah, I'm so glad somebody picked this.
I've never really truly loved the character of Luxana. Man, I can't talk today. But I really enjoyed her character in Deep Space Nine. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed this episode. I think her character, she plays what Troy should have always been written as throughout TNG. She plays this person, when they're stuck in that turbo lift. She is kind of pushing him to talk and let things out and tell her what's going on and how he feels, but not overly pushy. And then she's empathetic towards him, and she sympathizes with him because, she pulls off her wig and she says, well, this is what my hair really looks like. And he finally turns around and faces her as he's trying to hold himself together because it's past his time, 16 hours to be in his bucket. And that whole struggle of him not wanting to open up and talk about why he has to do that. And being ashamed, essentially, is really, really powerful for him as a character, but then also because of who Lwaxana is and being a Beta Z, and the fact that she probably can't really sense much from him because of how he is, and allowing himself finally to give in and become his liquid state and let her hold him was just incredibly powerful and really, really moving. And I think just is one of my favorite moments for him.
You couldn't describe it any better. And I totally agree with you on Lwaxana. And I remember not liking this episode too much. I had it ranked pretty low on TrekRanks. But it's one of these ones I've grown to love over the years. It has really, really grown on me, mostly because of that appreciation for Odo and Lwaxana's scene. And also I like the Bashir stuff with the cranky ambassadors. But
yes. Well, and this is something where Odo's probably never had someone give him such concern and care for him before, that it throws him and he doesn't quite know how to handle that. And I work in mental health, and so I see this all the time, not only with myself, with my own clients, but with counselors. This is what they do, and they try to push people to talk about those uncomfortable things and let them see something that's made them feel shame and come to the realization that they don't need to. And so this was really just where that came from for me.
Interesting perspective. Dan, what's your take on the Forsaken?
Yeah, this is fantastic, Hayley. I have never been a huge Lwaxana fan either, but she really shines in Deep Space Nine and pretty much all the episodes she does. And this one, on some level, I gotta say, I think the relationship that Odo and Lwaxana have over the course of time that she's on the station is deeper than that of Odo and Kira. As strange as that may sound, but I really believe that. And this scene in the turbo lift in particular is the one that shows it all. He is alone. He wants to be alone. He doesn't want anybody caring for him or showing concern. And she, like you said, Hayley, she continues to do it until he finally, I don't think breaks is the right word, but that's the word I'm going to go with. And the connection that they have when he flows into her dress as he can't hold his shape any longer is one of the most poignant in the whole series. And I've always wondered, does he leak through that cloth? Because I don't know if it's a plastic dress or something, but that's for another conversation. But it's beautiful. She takes that wig off. Yeah, she takes that wig off, and that's it. And there's always something special with those two, right up to when she's pregnant with Kang's baby or however you want to call it. So I think it started off on the right foot, and it went the right way for the rest of the time that she was a guest on DS9.
Agreed. And since you brought it up, I know no one's picking The Muse as one of their top episodes, but the reality is, and even though that's a terrible episode, it is
the B story's awesome.
The B story is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And the scene where he basically where they get married and he has to kind of give that soliloquy, it's amazing. It's really is one of the best Odo moments, to be fair, because it really was believable and it was honest. So that's actually worthy of a shout out.
And to your point, Dan, really quick, I think the reason that he doesn't go through the material is he is more in line with slime than liquid.
Excellent
Thank
analysis.
You for that.
So
appreciate that. I've always wondered.
Sure thing.
All right. Dan, what is your number one pick?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not the same as Hayley's. So we were 4 for 5.
We did not get our Deep Space 5.
We did not. But if you remember my number 2 pick, my 5 words were love me some flaky Odo. For my number 1 pick,
other flaky Odo
is love me some goopy Odo.
Okay.
Hashtag we made him a solid, or hashtag Gowron be a changeling, yo. I'm going with Broken Link, Season 4, Episode 26. This is hands down my all-time favorite Odo episode. I do not stop watching this whenever it's being shown on BBC America. It's one that I'll always go to if I want to just throw in a DS9 episode to listen to. Right from the beginning, when he's flirting with Arroya in Garrick's shop, or when he's showing his passion for doing his duty when he goes after the smuggler and collapses into a pool of Odo goo, and just his hand rises up out of it as he's still trying to stop her, all the way to his belief in justice, even if he's the one that's going to be judged. This episode shows what the character of Odo is all about. I love the makeup. I love the dialogue. I love the music, the drama. Every aspect of this episode is Odo perfection to me. And it has to be my number one.
Yep. It's a running theme. It's the Odo eventually being judged in Broken Link. And
can I say also, you think it's bad enough and it's a hell of a cliffhanger that he becomes a solid, but then throw in the Galron aspect of it with him being a changeling.
So cool.
That's one of those ones that, and people are probably going to say you're not even close. That, because of my love for Deep Space Nine, that cliffhanger ranks up there with Best of Both Worlds.
Interesting. You should bring that up. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But I was going to say that, again, this is also like the part 2 of the Odo Garrick scene, because I love that they bring Garrick along just to challenge and kind of keep Odo engaged. And he's telling him all these stories about how he was working at the Cardassian embassy on Romulus. I love that stuff. And Odo's like into it too. He's like, no, I think that you pro-council. I love Broken Link. It's amazing for all those reasons you just said. That's an excellent pick. Was definitely on my secondary systems. Haley, what's your take on Broken Link?
That is fantastic. I'm actually glad that I did not share my number one with you two.
Thank God.
Wow, that would have been boring, huh?
No, it's a wonderful, wonderful episode, and definitely that struggle that he's gone through with, doing what's right, but also trying to not let people in, for sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's quintessential Odo, to say the least, and one of Rene Auberjonois' best performances. Okay, let's go to my round one pick to close it off. 5 words and a hashtag, and this was always going to be my number one. I love this episode. It's my favorite Odo episode. Easy. Always will be. Investigating murder on Terok Nor, hashtag. Starts with a C, ends with an O. Chesso! And it is Necessary Evil from Deep Space Nine Season 2, when Odo investigates a murder on Terok Nor and figures out, finally, after about 5 years, that Kira lied to him, and Kira did it. She killed Vatrik. And yeah, I love this. I love the film noir style of this episode. Super cool, super original look. And it's the Odo origin story. You actually get to see Odo meet Kira. You get to see him meet Gul Dukat. You get to see him meet Quark. You get to see how he gets his job on Terok Nor. And yeah, I love everything about this episode. He's pressing Kira on the murder of Vatrik, and of course the final scene when he realizes that she's done it. She walks out and she's realizing that he's just figured it out. It's a total gut punch. It was and it's an early episode of, it's season 2. So it was one of those moments where it's like, man, this show is really good, because Kira's sitting there saying, Odo's says to her, I misjudged you. You're a better liar than I gave you credit for. And she's really worried, because what he thinks about her, it matters to him.
Yep.
And, she's like, will you ever trust me again? And they just end on that kind of fade out.
I didn't have a choice.
I misjudged you, Major. You were a better liar than I gave you credit for.
You were working for the Cardassians.
I haven't been for more than a year. You've had all that time to tell me the truth.
I tried to tell you the truth 100 times. What you think of me matters a lot. I was afraid
that it might affect our friendship. Maybe it doesn't have to.
Will you ever be able to trust me in the same way again?
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes. It's a go-to for me. I love it. Hayley, what's your take on Necessary Evil?
That is a really good one. I completely forgot about that episode. And it makes you wonder how Kira and Odo ever got together with all the trust issues they had at the beginning. But
That's true.
yeah. But no, that's a great pick.
Dan, how about you?
It's essential, Odo. It's essential backstory for Odo, and you're absolutely right. You get to see how he meets Kira and Gul Dukat, and anything with Gul Dukat's going to be awesome anyway. That's a different conversation for a different time. But it's especially dark, and it's season 2, and even though it's season 2, it's the show's still getting its feet wet. Season 1 had some weak moments, but season 2 has some more backstory fill, and this is probably right at the top of the list of those backstories. And you're right, Hayley, how on earth they ever got together with all the issues they had between each other over the course of the first 5 seasons is beyond me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Love beats all. And I like that because I considered Things Past because they're very similar in terms of how they were filmed and the flashback. And I kind of went this direction instead. So I'm fired up you guys had Things Past. Okay. Let's go to some secondary system picks because there's a lot of little moments out there that we haven't touched on yet that'll be fun to talk about.
Let's see what you can do with the secondary systems.
So, Hayley, any secondary systems you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I just had a couple other episodes. So I had, I'll throw out my 5 words and you guys will know the episode. I'd like to borrow your bodies. Hashtag that is one weird mud bath. So it's Facets from season 3.
Oh, Curzon Odo is
Curzon Odo.
Yep.
I mean, granted, he's kind of a jerk, but yeah, he is. But I like that, you see these changes, and when he goes down to Quark's, and Quark's kind of like, wait, what is, clearly something's wrong with Odo, but he's just like, I don't know what to do. I'm more afraid of him than I should be. I enjoy that. And then, like, I'm not giving him up. Like, he's like, no, we're going to stay in this body together.
And let's give credit to Rene Auberjonois' performance there. He's chewing the scenery.
Yes.
Just loving every second of it.
Changeling with spots is awesome.
so great.
Yeah. And then my other one, we'll see if you guys can get this one. Going on an undercover mission, hashtag not the changeling you were looking for. So it's Apocalypse Rising, season 5.
Oh, yes. I considered that too. Because it was interesting to see how he was doubting himself.
Well, yeah. And it's great because, it's really powerful. Sisko's, brings him on this mission for a reason to kind of show, because Odo's struggling with this fact that he's like, I can't do my job because I'm not a changeling anymore. And how do I do that? When I can't do what I normally do. And I think that was really, he just was trying to show him like, no, you still have the ability to do your job, and you've got to do your job because no one else can. But it's also fun just seeing him as a Klingon. It's really interesting. And Bashir's like, well, I can give you a different face if you like, or you can keep this one. It's just,
Those are 2 great shout outs.
Yeah, very good.
Thanks.
Okay, Dan, how about you? Any you want to rattle on?
Yeah, I got. We talked about Children of Time, and we talked about the Adversary already, and I mentioned that I had those in my secondary systems. But the one that I really was going back and forth with whether I have it in my top 5 or not. 5 words: Odo finally isn't alone anymore. Hashtag Vic Fontaine is a sneaky bastard.
Yes,
and that's his way. Season 6, episode 20. Now, like I said, it took Renee's passing to make me appreciate the relationship between these two. This is the one where they finally they share their feelings, even though it's due to some trickery on Vic's part. That confrontation in the promenade and the subsequent kiss is television magic. By the way that the camera just pans around them while they're kissing and the music playing, I think that is just a great moment for Odo, because you can't help but feel good for the guy that he finally got the girl.
So good.
Definitely.
The Begotten and His Way were both on my toughest cuts list. And my favorite moment in His Way is when he's like, Vic's trying to like get him to get a little bit more into it. And he's like, well, what does fun have to do with Major Kira? And Vic just says, I'll pretend I didn't hear you say that. That is such a funny moment. Oh, it's so good.
It's time to have some fun.
What does fun have to do with Major Kira?
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Okay, I'll have a few more to rattle off. We did not mention the abandoned, and that's when the young Jem'Hadar sees. I love this moment. I kind of wanted to have a shape-shifting moment on my list, but I just couldn't. This is the closest one I had. I love the moment when he sees Odo, and he kind of leaps at him, and then he goes right through him because Odo shifts. And I thought that was a really cool use of Odo as a shapeshifter. And then right away the Jem'Hadar knows, oh man, this guy's a founder, and bows down. So super cool. I had the Search Part 2. I like the Tarkalian Hawk. I also like the Arbizon Vulture when that's like the first time he flies up and he lands on the founder's planet and Kira's there, and he's like, wow, I get it now. I can be these things and enjoy myself. And that was a cool moment when he kind of realizes for the first time, I think maybe what it actually means to be a changeling. Right. I love the moment in Tacking into the Wind when he's sick, more flaky Odo, and Garrick's talking to him and he's trying to console him, and he just says, if I don't want pity from the woman I love, why would I want it from you?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a great moment.
Yep.
And then two funny ones from Take Me Out to the Holosuite when he tosses Cisco out of the game.
Yep.
What were you doing? Regenerating? Oh, so good.
Strike 3! What? What are you talking about? That ball is at least a half a meter out. How couldn't you call it a strike? Reverse the call. Reverse the call. That was low and outside. The ball was clearly outside. Oh, what the hell were you looking at? You can't tell me that ball was over the plate. What were you doing? Regenerating?
Caught the outside corner.
Outside corner? Right foot. That was a ball and you know it. We should have 2 men on. 2 men on. 2 men on.
Gentlemen, you are trying my patience.
What trying to make no wait. You stole the run from us. You stole it just as if you reached up and tore it off the scoreboard. You stole it from us.
You're out of here!
What?
No player shall at any time make contact with the umpire in any manner. The prescribed penalty for the violation is immediate ejection from the game. Rule number 4.06, subsection A, paragraph 4. Look it up, but do it in the stands. You're gone!
And then also from Bada Bing, when he's got his arm trick. With Cheech. And I'm going to give one. I'm just going to mention A Simple Investigation. Maybe, Hayley, what do you like Odo? And I like that episode. I don't know. I just like, for some reason, I like that episode. And that's one where he ends up with that woman that doesn't really know she's an operative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you that episode,
I like that relationship. Yeah,
go. That relationship was great, but she was freaking weird when she was back to her regular self after her surgery was back. She kind of freaked me out big time.
There was no future there. All right, and then I'm going to give one special shout out, and I'm only doing this for one reason, Dan Davidson. I'm going to call out Odo dressed as Cyrano Jones in Trials and Tribulations. So Dan hit it.
Because Odo is not dangerous.
I just wanted to hear Dan Cyrano Jones impersonation. All right.
Can I tell you how much Bill hates that? He hates that with a passion unlike anything I've ever seen in another human being.
I laugh every time.
I can imagine.
All right. Odo, amazing character. And I'm glad we were able to cover so much with our picks and also, honor and celebrate Rene and his impact on Star Trek.
I got to tell you,
he's a legend.
That's what it means the most to me to do this, Jim. I can remember a lot of people remember where they were when Kennedy was assassinated, or the shuttle exploded, or Leonard Nimoy's passing. Rene's passing is that important to me. I remember exactly what I was doing, where I was when it happened. I was at Disney World. I was in one of the stores in Hollywood Studios, talking to an employee about finding something I was looking for, and I was looking at my phone. I saw a text from Bill come through in all capital letters, and I completely shut down. I did not know what to do. It's one of those moments. Yeah.
That one hit hard. I was on vacation as well, so it was a tough one.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go into our regeneration cycle and recap everything we just talked about.
Computer, activate regeneration cycle. Alcoves beta and gamma.
Okay, let's get into our regeneration cycle and recap our picks. And then we got one more little thing we're going to get to before we close it out. So, Hayley, recap your top 5.
All right. So at number 5, we have season 5, episode 12, The Begotten. Number 4, we have season 5, episode 8, Things Past. At number 3, so season 5, episode 9, The Ascent. At number 2, season 3, episode 21, The Die is Cast. And at number 1, this is season 1, episode 17, The Forsaken.
Awesome. So you had 3 from season 5 and then 1 each from season 3 and season 1, the only season 1 pick. Dan, how about you? Recap your 5.
Yeah, my number 5, season 5, episode 8, Things Past. Number 4, season 5, episode 9, The Ascent. At number 3, season 5, episode 12, The Begotten. Number 2, season 3, episode 21, The Die is Cast. And number 1, season 4, episode 26, Broken Link.
You had 3 from season 5 as well, and then season 3 and season 4 with Broken Link at your number 1. And my 5 I had season 4, Crossfire as my number 5 pick. My number 4 pick was season 3, The Adversary. My round 3 pick was To the Death from season 4. It's connected with The Adversary. My round 2 pick, Children of Time from season 5. And my round 1, number 1 Odo episode was Necessary Evil. So the overall numbers, we had 4 duplicates, which we have covered, as which is amazing. And we had no season 6 or 7 picks. So we didn't really touch on Odo's, for lack of a better word, betrayal in season 6. Right. With the Dominion arc there, the Dominion takeover arc. So we had 1 from season 1, 1 from season 2, 3 each from season 3 and season 4. And season 5 was like easily far and away the most with 7 episodes. That is that's surprising to me. It's kind of stands out. All right, so before we end this regeneration cycle, I want to ask you guys just to celebrate Rene a little bit outside of Star Trek. What's one performance that really speaks to you in terms of Rene's career, which obviously, spanned basically 5 decades or more, maybe 6 decades. Actually, it was 6 decades. Incredible. Dan, anything off the top of your head that would be a kind of a Rene Auberjonois performance outside of Star Trek?
Yeah, I've always loved this because it's so unlike what we expect with the character of Odo, and that's Chef Louis from The Little Mermaid, the guy who sings Les Poissons. That scene, it took me years to realize that it was Rene, and when I realized it was Rene, I could not believe it. It's just so fun and so funny, and not only is it funny because of the great artwork and animation that Disney did, but the voice that Rene uses for singing the song and the different levels of volume that he uses when he's chasing Sebastian and talking about the fish is just one that I've always loved.
That one's a classic. Hayley, how about you?
So I'm an 80s child, and I have always liked Batman, and he was in, and it's not a movie that a lot of other people really like, but he was in Batman Forever, which is one of my favorite.
Which one is that? I don't remember him being in
Batman Forever. That's the one with Jim Carrey, who plays
the Riddler.
Arnold
Schwarzenegger. Oh, so it's Mr. Freeze, not the one with Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
No, it's not Mr. Freeze.
No, because that's the only episode. That's the only movie I've ever walked out of. By the way,
that was Batman Robin.
Batman Forever has the Riddler and Two-Face played by Tommy Lee Jones.
Got it.
Yeah, so he is he's a character in that one. He plays Dr. Burton. And it's really fun because I actually just recently was showing my kid over, I think late last year, we watched all like the Batman movies because I have 2 of the new trilogy ones. And so I showed her all the old ones that I grew up watching, going to the movie theater with my dad seeing. So that's really fun. But I have to say, again, as this 80s kid, he did voice work for The Last Unicorn, which was in one of the movies that I really enjoyed as a kid. And so that's something that's, I think, just incredible that you didn't realize that they were in something. No. And then you go back and you watch it and then you're like, oh, that is that person. Right. I can hear it now.
That's great. I haven't seen that Batman, so maybe. maybe I'll have to investigate that one. And I haven't seen The Little Mermaid in like 30 years, so I can barely remember it. I will pick from. It's the one that always stood out to me. I should pick Benson now that I think about it, but I'm going to pick Father Mulcahy from the original MASH movie.
Mm-hmm.
So memorable and such a early part of his career, and such a great movie, and he was so good in it, and he's just such an amazing character actor. But now that I think about it, was it Endicott the third?
Yes, the third. Yeah. And it's funny because I was never a huge Benson fan, so I really didn't.
I loved it when I was.
I don't remember a lot about that show except his mustache.
Yeah, I loved it. Okay, yeah, he had a big mustache. That's for sure. All right, awesome job, guys. But once again, as we do every week, we've once again entered a temporal causality loop. So before we can depart, it's time to hear from you.
The Enterprise has been caught up in a temporal causality loop, and I suspect that something similar may have happened to you.
And for this week's temporal causality loop, we're going back to episode 78 in our top 5 episodes where the ship is a character, a classic TrekRanks topic. That was a fun one. We got a lot of great feedback, and I got 2 really, really great lists here. One of them from the amazing wordsmith Ross Webster on Twitter. So the first one is from John H., who is at Wayun Clone. That's appropriate for today's pick, for today's topic. I love these picks. His 5 words in a hashtag. B'Elanna keeps talking to herself. Hashtag way off course. And of course it is Dreadnought from Dreadnought and Voyager. Number 4 pick. Literally living ship needs friend. Hashtag telepathic pals. Gom2 from Tin Man, which is an awesome pick.
Mm-hmm.
His number 3, body snatching super repair station. Hashtag too good to be true. The automated repair station from Dead Stop and Enterprise. Definitely a cool pick. His number 2 from Discovery. Lonely ship loves old movies. Hashtag funny face. Of course, Calypso, Short Treks. And his number 1, I love this. Ancient probe seeks its creator. Hashtag leap beyond logic. V'ger from Star Trek, the motion picture.
That's a good one.
That was incredible. All right, to get this list. This is from Ross Webster, who you know from Twitter. He's Borg. He's at STRTRK1701. And his amazing list, it's got all these levels here. Number 5, Team Tam and Tin Man. Hashtag organic. So he picked Gom2 as well from Tin Man. Number 4, Asteroid Actually Ancient Automated Astronavigator. Hashtag Oracle. And that was alliterative. Asteroid Actually Ancient Automated Astronavigator Oracle. It's the Yanada from For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky.
Ooh, that's
POS.
a good one.
That's a really good one.
That is fantastic.
All right, his number 3, I'm going to tell you off the bat, it's from The Shoot. And his pick is Can Harry Usher Tom's Escape? Which spells shoot. Can Harry Usher Tom's escape?
I see what he did.
Hashtag open sky, and it's that maximum security detention facility in The Shoot. Number 2, Hugh's haunted house silently shifts. Ominous. It's the artifact from Picard, the Impossible Box. So love that pick, which is a really cool one because the ship was definitely a character in that episode. And number 1, oh, this is cool. I forgot this was on here. The little ships broke you. Hashtag overwhelming. It was the Swarm from Star Trek Beyond.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Which is awesome flick.
You know, it's funny. Both of them picked Gom2. I'm going to be right up front. I can't stand that episode.
I know. I love that episode. I know that you don't like it, but you don't like it because of
the Betazoid.
Because of
annoying as all hell. Yeah.
Tam Elbrun. Yeah. You don't like him.
But I will say that I have the wonderful Eagle Moss Gom2 ship sitting right over here.
Oh, that Gom2 is fantastic. All right. Hey, they don't sponsor our show, man.
Those are great.
We love all the sponsors. All right. Let's, one more pick was from Deb Maltasanti sent in one that I wanted to highlight. It was Broken Pieces and La Serena and her 5 words in the hashtag 5 Reels hologram solve mystery. Hashtag lullaby override.
Nice.
And I highlighted that because I really love that underrated moment with Rios uses his Spanish lullaby to get past the force field override. Super cool moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once again, those picks more than enough to get us out of this week's temporal causality loop. So as always, I want to thank everyone for all your great picks and all your responses to the TrekRanks podcast. Keep your list coming to me at TrekRanks so we can retweet them. But we also want to hear from you. So put together your own list of top 5 Odo episodes or a list from any of our past shows and give us a call at the Tricorder Transmissions at 609-512-5527. That's 609-512-LLAP. Or you can just record your own picks and then send me a link via DM on Twitter. So hopefully we'll hear from you so you can be featured on the next episode of TrekRanks. And on the next episode of TrekRanks, we have a straight-up classic TrekRanks topic, and I love this because we actually already talked about this a little bit on this show. Dan, we're doing our top 5 cliffhangers.
There you go.
That's right.
Boom.
And Broken Link is
I wonder what 2 of them are going to be.
That's an amazing early pick. So on episode 18, we did our top 5 two-parters, but cliffhangers very, very different. So Hayley and Dan, if I was to ask you to pick one Star Trek cliffhanger that wasn't Broken Link, what would you pick?
Shades of Grey. No, I'd say the
disqualified
part 1 of the Klingon Civil War is pretty good cliffhanger because Worf resigns his commission.
Oh, that's a great.
That's
my all-time favorite TNG episode.
I'm well aware. Yes, sir.
Definitely in the running for that. Hayley, how about you? What's a cliffhanger you would highlight?
You know, it's classic and iconic, and everybody's going to pick it. But it's Best of Both Worlds Part 1 because it freaking ruined my summer.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I mean,
so much.
Yep.
I mean, you know, it's interesting to tell my kid because you know we don't have actual television. We just stream everything, and as most people do now. And so you just go on to the next one. And there is no waiting. And like trying to explain this concept to kids these days of like, you had to wait a whole week for your next episode to come out.
Yeah.
And it was only at a certain time. And if you missed it and you were screwed. But then like to have that happen and then have to wait all summer, it really prepared me for watching Orphan Black and having to wait like a whole year between seasons. But it really did ruin my summer.
Hayley is my sister.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
With Orphan Black. And yeah, spoiler alert, Best of Both Worlds is going to be on my list. Okay. I mean, let's call it like it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that one. And as a special surprise for that episode, we are being joined by a very, very special guest on TrekRanks. He's a diehard Star Trek fan with a ton of Trek knowledge. And yeah, I'm trying to decide if I should say who. I'm not going to do it.
Oh my God! Really? That's a cliffhanger in itself, brother.
That's perfect.
Nice.
It's the cliffhanger. It's a big guess. It's a big one. We're not going to tell you who it is yet. All right. So before we wrap it up, a huge thanks to Hayley Stoddard and Dan Davidson. Great to have you guys back on the show. Any final Trek subspace communications you guys want to relay before we sign off? Hayley?
Thank you for having me on again. It's been a blast as always, and I'm looking forward to more TrekRanks.
Just a bunch of dorks talking about Star Trek.
I know.
Can't be any more fun than that, Dan.
Exactly.
There really isn't anything more than that. And I got to say, Jim, from the bottom of my heart, you're right on the top of the list for podcasts. I mean, what you've done here is fantastic because as what you say every week, everybody's opinion matters. Every Star Trek is good. And what you've done with this and all of the different topics that you've come out with over the last few years, it really is deep diving to a whole new level. So thank you for doing that. And I love it.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate you saying that. And I'm apologizing in advance for the next time we have Bill on and we talk smack about you. That's you know that's
I know he's just jealous. It's okay.
Just like it did tonight. Okay, we love you, Bill. All right, that's it. I want to thank everyone again for engaging with us here on episode 84 of the TrekRanks podcast. As always, I want to close by saying I'm looking forward to standing with you again here in this place where I belong.
So you did know them?
Oh, yes. We were quite well acquainted.
In the Obsidian Order.
Oh, Constable, we've been down this road before. I don't see why.
I've had enough of your dissembling, Garrick. I am not Dr. Bashir, and we are not sparring amiably over lunch. You dragged me into this investigation, and you are now going to cooperate with me.
Dragged you in? I don't know what you're talking...
You blew up your own shop, Garrick.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen that particular expression on your face. Is it surprise?
Yes, Constable, it is. I'm surprised that you could come to this unlikely conclusion.
Just want to remind everyone again that the entire TrekRanks catalog is available for you to download and listen to at TrekRanks.com and on your podcast player of choice. Our episodes never get carbon dated, so check out the topics you've missed and maybe just want to listen to again over at TrekRanks.com. And a reminder to check out our friends 5-Year Mission at 5yearmission.net. They're writing a song for every episode of Star Trek, and you won't believe how great their music is. They also have a podcast at the Trek Geeks Network, so seek them out. You won't regret it.
It's him. Gowron, what about him? During the link, I sensed that the other changelings were trying to hide things from me. Faces. Names. One of them was him.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that he's one of them. Gowron, the head of the Klingon Empire, is a changeling.
No misinterpretation of my words. Arcanus is ours and we will take it back. Resist us in any way, and there will be war.